everyone, welcome to Homeschool, and we are with the chapter Sources of Energy. And this chapter is the most simplest chapter where you can score maximum marks if the questions come in the examination. The questions are like direct questions. You can able to answer very nicely and you can score the mark very nicely. Clear? So let us start the chapter. Sources of energy. We have different forms of energy actually. About the basics of energy, we have studied in our lower classes, right? So here, can you able to tell me what do you mean by energy? So what is energy? If I have to give a definition for energy, I can say that energy is nothing but ability to do work. Yes? Some sort of ability to do work is called as energy, right? Say for example, if I have to make this video, if I have to talk like this, if I have to write on a board, I need to have some energy. If we have to run, if we have to walk, we need to have some energy. Even if we have to sleep, you should have certain amount of energy. So can you tell me, how do we get energy? Like humans, as a humans, to do all these activities, we need energy. And how do we get it? Definitely, we get energy from food, right? We get energy from food. So I can say that food is a source of energy. Food is a source of energy for whom? It is for humans, isn't it? So understood the meaning of the word source of energy? Right? So for everything energy is required, and to get this energy we need to consume food. So this food, I can say it as source of energy. This is a source from which you get energy. If you consume this, you get energy. That's the reason I am telling this is a source of energy. In the same way, say for example, for the vehicles to run, the bus to run, car to run, energy is necessary even for those vehicles. So how to get the energy? How do they get energy? Definitely they get energy from fuel. Fuel is the source of energy for vehicles. Yes or no? Petrol or diesel, whatever you put in a car, that undergoes a certain reaction where it produces large amount of heat. So that heat is a source of energy for a car to run. What happens to that heat? That heat gets converted into mechanical energy. Heat is nothing but I call it as heat energy. That is the main source you are getting from those chemicals called petrol and diesel. Okay, that heat energy later converting into mechanical energy so that the car and the bus is running smoothly. So I can say that the fuel that we put inside the vehicles is the source of energy for those vehicles to run. Okay, so like this, can you be able to tell me how do we get electricity? Electricity is something, it's not natural, right? Man has created this electricity. Man has generated this electricity. So how do we get electricity? There are various ways to generate electricity, right? So and the source, there are various sources of energy that we can use to generate electricity. Like we can use the wind energy to generate electricity, we can use solar energy to generate electricity, we can use water, energies of water to generate electricity. Various other sources of energies are there to generate electricity. All these sources of energies we are going to study in this particular chapter. Clear? You got some basic idea about a chapter? What we are going to study? The sources of energy. Say everything require energy to work, right? So you get energy from certain sources. Okay, so those sources of energy we are dealing in the chapter. Okay, and now initially there are two types of energies, like two types of sources of energy that is available in our nature. We call them as renewable sources of energy, non-renewable sources of energy. Okay, so usually what I would say is energies, whatever the sources of energies are there in our nature, they are broadly classified into two categories. What are they? Renewable sources of energy and non-renewable sources of energy. Can you tell me what do you mean by renewable sources of energy? Say, for example, solar energy. Solar energy is renewable. Wind energy is renewable, right? Say, for example, tidal energy. Tidal energy that you find it in oceans is renewable. Like that, many are there, right? So, looking at these examples, what is the meaning of the word renewable? Renewable means regenerated. They can be regenerated. What is the meaning of renewable? Regenerated. Okay, they will never get over. They will never get over. These energies will never get over. They are not exhaustible. In other words, I can say they are not exhaustible. Okay, so such energies are called renewable sources of energy. Say, for example, energy from a sun. Will the sun stop giving its sunlight one fine day? No, right? Every day you get a sun and every day you get a sunlight, and it will never get over. Say every day, like over the years, as long as the sun is there, you get sun's energy, and sun will be there, right? So solar energy, we will call it as renewable energy. It will never get over. Okay, it will never get exhausted. It can be regenerated every now and then, right? And the same way, wind energy. Wind, in the sense, the movement of air in the atmosphere. So air will never get stop moving, right? It always moves in our, as long as the atmosphere is there, air would be there and it keeps moving from one place to another place. So wind energy is also, it is not exhaustible. It will never get over. Okay. Similarly, tidal energy. Tides, in the sense, the waves that you get it in the ocean. As long as the ocean is there, you get the tides, isn't it? So all these are examples for renewable sources of energy. Okay, using these guys, you can generate electricity, you can create various other equipments that are helpful for the mankind. Clear? And coming to the non-renewable sources of energies, say here coal, petrol, right? So what are all these? They are called as fossil fuels. So you must have heard this word fossil fuels. Yes or no? Say you get these fuels from fossils. I mean the dead remains of plants and animals. Over the years, when they are there under the earth, it gets converted into fuel. We call it as fossil fuel, coal and petrol, diesel, all these things, they require lot of time to generate. I mean, if a dead remains of plants and animals, if it has to get converted into coal and petroleum, it takes millions of years. Okay, and if you use them too much, one fine day it gets over. Yes or no? Because, again to create these things, it takes millions of years. So whatever existing coal and petroleum is there, if you use it too much, one fine day it gets over. Then again to generate them, it takes lots of years, right? So these guys are getting over one fine day. I can say they are exhaustible. They are exhaustible. They are getting over one fine day. So such sources of energies are called non-renewable sources of energies. Clear? So you must clearly have an idea what do you mean by renewable and what do you mean by non-renewable energies. Clear? Fine. So, so this is one way of classifying sources of energy. And there is another way of classifying sources of energies. See, our sources of energies, various forms of energies that is present in our nature can also be classified into conventional sources of energy, and non-conventional sources of energy. So what do you mean by conventional sources of energy? These are the sources of energy which was used by a man for a long time, from a long time. Okay, so these are the energies, conventional sources of energies are used from long time. Okay, very old, from the ancient time onwards, from the historical time onwards, these sources of energies are kept on using. Okay, so very old type of sources of energies are called as conventional sources of energies. Okay, and non-conventional sources of energies are nothing but these energies used from recent times, from recent times, like you must have heard about solar cells. So these solar cells and all, we have never used from millions of years. They have invented, they are being invented very very recently, right? Solar energy we are using recently, and the same way geothermal energy, tidal energy, all these energies we are using, we started using very very recently. Okay, we are not using these energies from ancient times, from old times, but the coal, petroleum and all, we started using from a very long time. Like fossil fuels usage is from a very long time. Okay, so they are called as conventional sources of energy. And the solar energy usage, tidal energy usage, all these are very very new inventions. Okay, so recent energies whatever we are using to generate various equipments and all will come under non-conventional sources of energy. So the whole chapter is about discussing conventional sources of energies and non-conventional sources of energy. So in today's video, we will discuss everything about conventional sources of energy. Okay, so before going to the conventional energy, and how do you say that which source of energy is good for us and which source of energy is bad for us? Like, what are the characteristics of good energy? How do you decide this is good energy, this is bad energy? Like, you should have certain parameters to decide, you should have certain characteristics to decide, right? So this is what we are going to study initially, right? So deciding which form of energy is good and which source of energy is bad. Hey guys, if a question is like what is a good source of energy, or tell me the characteristics of good source of energy, then what is your answer? This is the most important question for CBSE 10th as well as for any state board examination. It can be asked for 2 mark. At least you should mention the 4 points. Okay, listen carefully. And when do you say that this is a good source of energy? There are certain points to decide based on which we say that this is a good source of energy and that is a bad source of energy, right? So we are actually studying about the characteristics of good source of energy. Listen to the first point. You must able to do large amount of work per unit mass of energy. Like with little of energy, you must able to do large amount of work. Then you call that particular energy as good source of energy. Getting my point? Okay. Say for example, for a cooking, say cooking is certain kind of a work that you are doing. For a cooking, what you need certain energy. Like you can use the energy in the form of, the olden days we used to use, the wood. Yes, in the olden days when gas stoves were not there, they used to use the wood for the cooking. And nowadays we will use the cylinder, right? So nowadays we will use the cylinder. Say, for example, if you want to cook for 1 month, then how much is the wood required for a cooking? Large amount of wood is required, right? A room full of wood is required to cook for 1 month. But if you want to cook for 1 month, you know how many cylinders are required? Just one cylinder is enough. Half a amount of cylinder is enough. From one cylinder, how many months you can do a cooking? Like if you are cooking for a 4 people or 5 people in a house every day, then how many cylinders are required for that particular house? Just one cylinder for 2 months they will get, or one cylinder they will get it for 3 months sometimes, right? So cylinder is a source of energy that we are using for cooking, guys. So one cylinder is enough to cook for how many months? 2 or 3 months. isn't it? Say actually with less energy we are doing our work, we are doing lots of work. Cooking is a work with very less amount of energy. Here cylinder, the gas inside the cylinder is an energy, source of energy. Using this energy we are cooking, right? So to do a large amount of a work, very little amount of energy is required, if I mean is sufficient if you are using a cylinder. But if you want to cook for the same 2 or 3 months using a hood, how much hood is required? Very, very large. You cannot even imagine, right? So that means here to do a work, large amount of energy that you are taking it. So among the hood and the cylinder, can you tell me which form of energy is good for doing a large amount of work, that is cooking? Cylinder is best way of energy. Cylinder is the best type of energy, right? So this is the first point, this is the first characteristic of a good source of energy. With very little energy you must able to do a large amount of work. Okay, so what is the first point I will write is large amount of work has to be done from a unit mass of energy. I mean from very little of energy, large amount of work has to be done. Then you will say that particular energy is a good source of energy. Okay, and coming to the next point, it should be easily accessible. It should be easily accessible. Accessible in the sense what? It should be easily available. Okay, you should get that particular source of energy very, very easily without any struggle, without spending lots of money. You should get it very easily. Then you say such a energy is a good source of energy. Okay, and next point I am telling is it should be very easy to store and transport. Okay, it should be easy to store and transport. This is another quality for telling the fuel or the energy is good. It should be easily stored and you have to transport it very, very easily. Okay, and the last point, very, very important, is it should be economical. It should be economical and environment friendly. What do you mean by the word environment friendly? It should be eco-friendly. That means it should not cause any pollution. It shouldn't cause any pollution, and it should be economical. Economical in the sense it should be cheap. With low cost, you must able to get that energy for doing a work. Okay, so these are the 4 points you have to write if the question is asked like this: what is a good source of energy, or what are the characteristics of good source of energy? Okay, so what are the points? It must do large amount of work from unit volume or unit mass of energy, and later it should be easily available. You must store the energy very easily, and you have to, if you want to transport it, it has to be very easy. There should not be any complications in transporting the energies. Okay, and the last point is it should be economical, and also it should not cause any pollution. That's why we say it should be environmental friendly. Clear? So these are the points we have to remember. Now let us discuss about the conventional sources of energy. Under that, mainly we are discussing two sources of energies. One is thermal power plant, hydro power plant. Clear? Coming to thermal power plant, see, the word power plant in the sense it is a place where we will generate electricity. Okay, it's a kind of setup where electricity can be generated. Such a place, such a setup is called as power plant. So power is what? Electricity. Plant is what? Something, some setup where we can generate that electricity. Clear? Okay. So thermal power plant. Therma in the sense we all know it means heat, isn't it? So using heat energy, we are going to generate electricity. So what is the meaning of thermal power plant? Electricity is generated electricity is generated with the help of heat energy. With the help of heat energy. So this is what we are going to discuss here. But how is that heat energy produced? Right? So all these things let us discuss in detail. Okay, so before that, how do you produce electricity? There are various other ways of producing electricity that we have seen in our chapter called magnetism, right? Magnetic effect of electric current. We have seen how we can generate electricity. Do you remember electromagnetic induction? Do you remember an instrument called generator? So what is the purpose of generator? Generator is the one which generates electricity. Yes or no? With the help of magnetic field. We will have two magnets here and one conductor. It keeps moving. So change in the magnetic field takes place that induces the current. Isn't it? So generator purely works on electromagnetic induction. So because of the principle of electromagnetic induction taking place in a generator, we can able to see the production of electricity, right? Say this generator is always connected to what? It is connected to some kind of turbine, right? Say we want something to rotate the axle of a generator, right? You all have very clearly studied in case of generator. So, the conductor, armature coil continuously should rotate. So, someone must be there to rotate that armature coil here, which is present in between the magnetic field. So, what is rotating the armature coil? Which is helping to rotate our conductor, which is there between magnetic field, our turbine. So, turbine is very much essential for a generator to generate electricity. Something must rotate. So this turbine is the instrument that keeps rotating every time. But how does this turbine rotate? Something must be there. Some push must be there, no, to rotate this turbine. Whenever the turbine rotates, armature coil, that is the conductor present between the magnetic field, rotates. Only then electricity can get produced. So now, which is the force that is rotating this turbine? Right? Say that particular force is nothing but our heat energy. Okay, we are using a heat energy, right? See, observe carefully here. So what initially we take is some kind of coal, coal or petroleum oil is taken, and this is our coal, and we start heating this coal or petroleum. What we do? We start heating this, and so the coal or petroleum starts burning. So when it starts burning, what happens? The heat energy is produced. So this is what I can call it as heat energy is produced, right? And here we will keep water. There is a water here. Okay, and whenever water gets boiled, because of the heat energy produced, water gets boiled, and steam starts to coming out. Whenever water boils, that steam will come, right? So this steam connected, this is what connected to our turbines. The steam that has generated is getting passed through these pipes, and it will reach the turbine, and that steam is the force given to the turbine, so the turbine rotates. Okay, so the turbine rotates this way, guys. See, which is the main source that is making our turbine to rotate? Heat energy, right? How are we getting heat energy? By burning coal and petroleum. Okay, so whenever you burn coal and petroleum, that heat is produced. More the heat produced, more is the water boils. When water boils to a larger extent, more and more steam is generated, and that steam, we will make it to pass over this turbine, so that force from a steam is making turbine to rotate. And when this turbine rotates, our generator starts producing electricity. Okay, see, with the help of heat energy, we are generating electricity. Actually, initially, heat energy, here it is getting converted into mechanical energy. That means, see, turbine rotates, that is called mechanical energy. and that mechanical energy later it is getting converted to electrical energy. So this is the main principle that is going on in our thermal power plant. Okay, so ultimately I can say the heat energy that you get by burning coal and petroleum is helping to produce electricity with the help of generators. Okay, and now what is important here is to discuss advantages and disadvantages of thermal power plant. Okay, let us check it out with advantages. Okay, what is the advantage of thermal power plant is rate of production of electricity is very high. So what did I tell you? Rate of production of electricity is very high. Okay, what do you mean by rate of production of electricity is high? You know, in a little amount of time, in a very less time, you can produce large amount of electricity. Okay, in a less time you can able to produce more electricity. That is what we mean by rate of production of electricity is high. Okay, in case of thermal power plant. That is the reason in our India, 60% of the electricity is produced in the form of thermal power plants only. Imagine 60% of our electricity is through thermal power plants. Okay, so since coal is very much required, these power plants are usually set up near the coal fields. Okay, wherever coal is available in a larger extent, in that particular area, they will set up thermal power plants so that they can easily use the coal available in that particular place. Okay, fine. And now let us discuss the disadvantages. There are many disadvantages of thermal power plant. You can able to guess that, right? Why? Because, we are getting heat energy by burning coal and petroleum. Okay, so here continuous supply of coal is required. So what is the first disadvantage? Continuous supply of coal is required. So whereas we all know coal is a fossil fuel, right? One fine day it gets over. It is exhaustible. It gets exhaust. Okay, we have to use the coal in a limited amount. Only then it can remain for so many years in the nature. Otherwise, one fine day it will get over. But for the thermal power plant, if you want to produce electricity continuously, you must able to supply that coal. Whereas, you cannot you cannot use coal to a larger extent because coal is a non-renewable source of energy. Very important point, guys. Coal is non-renewable source of energy. So this is one disadvantage. Since it is non-renewable, you cannot continuously use coal to a larger extent. If you use one fine day, coal gets over, then what we would do, right? So this is one of the major disadvantage. And after that, you observe one thing, you are burning the coal. Have you ever seen these thermal power plants? Right? There are big towers where they keep burning this coal and you get lots of smoke from that towers, right? Say because we are burning coal here, automatically that pollution, you would definitely observe pollution in the environment, right? So the third disadvantage is causes pollution. It causes pollution. Okay, and and setting up of thermal power plant is also very much expensive, right? You have to construct so much of technology, big towers. It is quite expensive, and after that maintaining it also is very expensive. Once you construct something, you have to maintain it continuously, and you may get problem in the supply of steam, and everywhere technology is involved, everywhere big instruments are involved, equipments are involved. Maintaining those things is quite difficult. So that can be again one of the disadvantage of our thermal power plant. But majorly you can remember these three disadvantages. Okay, the first one is continuous supply of coal is required, whereas coal is a non-renewable source of energy, so you cannot use it too much. And finally, the major problem is it can cause pollution. Okay, though you have these many disadvantages, we are using this thermal power plant only about 60% to get our electricity, is because of only one reason, that is this. Okay, the thing is you can get more amount of electricity in a less span of time. Okay, so that is the reason, though we have these many disadvantages, we would use thermal power plants to a larger extent to generate our electricity. Okay, fine. And now let us move on to hydroelectric plant. Coming to the hydropower plant, the name only says, hydro in the sense what? Water, isn't it? So we are producing electricity with the help of water. Okay, so what form of energies you will find it in water? Water always flows, right? So anything that is flowing will have kinetic energy. Yes or no? Anything that is flowing, anything that is there in a motion will have kinetic energy. So here we are using kinetic energy to produce electricity. Clear? So what I can write here is electricity, power plant in the sense generation of electricity, no doubt in that. Okay, so electricity is produced with the help of kinetic energy of water. So flowing water will have a kinetic energy, yes or no? So with the help of this kinetic energy, we are going to produce electricity. You know what? The basic thing remains same. Like usually electricity is always produced in a generator, guys. No doubt in that. Okay. So generator is the one which is producing electricity. Generator, if it has to produce electricity, it must be connected to certain turbine, right? Whenever turbine rotates, the axial or armature coil rotates in a generator, electricity is produced. Now, with what energy you are rotating a turbine is different in different power plants. In thermal power plants, how did you make your turbine to rotate? What made turbine to rotate? Heat energy. You used heat energy. You heated coal and petroleum. Heat produced, water boiled, steam generated. Steam came and turbine started working. Right? So that was the thing. But here, with what you are making your turbine to rotate? We will use flow of water. Okay, see, whenever water is flown with high speed from high level to a low level, right? Water, when it is stored in a particular area, in a taller places, it will have certain very much high potential energy. And the moment when you start water to make it flow, what happens? That potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. Water flows with high speed. So when water is flowing with a high speed, if you keep a turbine keeps rotating, right? So when turbine rotates, like generator produces electricity, right? So this particular concept, turbine rotating, then generator producing electricity, remains constant in whichever the power plant it may be. Okay, in whichever way you generate electricity, this remains the basic thing. Only variation is how you are making your turbine to rotate. What energy you are using for a turbine to rotate will be different in different power plants. Okay, so here what we are using? Kinetic energy of water we are using, right? So usually hydropower plants are set up near the dams. Okay, so you must have seen various dams where electricity is being generated near to them. Like you have one small picture here. This is a dam. What is a dam? A dam is something very big that is constructed in a river, right? Constructed near a river to store the water. Dam is a water reservoir. It will store water. Okay, excess water of river can be stored in a dam, right, for our use later. So this is a small picture of a dam. So this is a dam here. This is a dam gate. This is a water stored in a dam. So whenever you remove this gate, Okay, whenever you open this gate, I can say whenever you open this gate, what happens? Water flows with a high speed and it goes down. You all know, you all have seen the dam gates, and you all know how water flows from those particular gates, right? Whenever you open the gates, water would flow with very, very high speed. So when water is flowing with high speed, in the sense, the kinetic energy of water is very much high here. Okay, so that kinetic energy, when it is flowing with high speed, the turbine that you are keeping in a water, you see here in this position you have kept your turbine got connected to generator. Here electricity is produced, and that electricity is carried by power lines. Okay, so to generate electricity, turbine must rotate, right? So we are taking the help of flowing water to rotate this particular turbine. Okay, so this is how hydro power plants are set up near the dam. So now let us discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of hydropower plants. Coming to the advantages. So what advantages you can think of, right? And it is environment friendly, and there is no pollution here. So whenever you produce electricity in this way, you don't observe any pollution. In the previous case, that is thermal power plant, you used coal. When coal was burned, lots of smoke was coming, right? But here there is no smoke, nothing. There is no such pollution, right? And you are using renewable source of energy. You are using renewable source of energy. Water is a renewable source of energy. With the help of flowing water, you are generating electricity. With the help of flowing water, you are rotating your turbine. So electricity is produced. So will the water in a river gets over? No, right? It always flows. So you are actually using renewable source of energy. Okay, and construction of a dam is difficult, but once you construct, its maintenance is very easy, right? So here, easy maintenance. The power plant will have easy maintenance. Okay, so once you construct a dam and once you keep your setup, then maintenance takes very less cost. Okay, you don't need to maintain too much. But thermal power plant is not like that. Okay, maintenance issues are found in thermal power plant. That is one of the disadvantage of thermal power plant. But here in hydro power plant, easy maintenance you will observe. So these are the two main advantages of hydropower plant. And coming to the disadvantages category. So there are many disadvantages here, right? And the first disadvantage is construction of dam is like very expensive. It takes years to gather, right? So what is the point I'll write? Construction of dams is expensive and takes many years. It is not that you can construct a dam within a month or 6 months or 8 months. No, it takes many years to construct a dam, right? So that is one disadvantage. Second one is flora and fauna. What do you mean by flora and fauna? Plants and animals. That is, the entire ecosystem gets affected. How it gets affected, can you tell me? See, whenever you have to construct a dam, large area is required, right? So whenever a large area is required, in that area many animals would be there, many plants would be, so you have to evacuate all of them, and whenever you construct, these plants and animals may die, right? So that way you are affecting the entire ecosystem in that particular area. So this is the biggest disadvantage of hydropower plant, guys. You are affecting the entire ecosystem is getting affected. Okay, and later, in that particular area many people would stay, they would have their houses, right? And you cannot shift the people. Even if you shift, they will not get better places to stay, they will not get better work, right? So rehabilitation of the people is also not satisfactory, right? So what I can write here is rehabilitation of displaced people is not satisfactory. What do you mean by this? So the people who live in that particular area where the dam is constructed, you know, you will relocate them, you will give another place for them to survive and to live, but they won't adjust to that particular place. And you know, you cannot give enough justice for those people who were living in the area where you have constructed a dam. Okay, so that's the reason. It is because of this reason, you know, many people actually protested constructing a dam near the rivers. For example, see Theory Dam, that is constructed near Ganga River, has got too much of opposition. Okay, because the people there who were living near this particular dam, you know, they got affected. Their lives got affected. That's the reason. Whenever, like during the construction of Theory Dam, the government had got lot of opposition. Same way, another project called Sardar Sarovar. Okay, so this was again a dam project that was done near the river Narmada. You know, these two projects have got lot of opposition, got to know, by the people, by the surrounding people. It's because, you know, the displacement of those people, the relocation program of those people was not that much satisfactory, and also because lots of flora and fauna that was present in those particular places got affected. That's the reason people started protesting to construct the dams. Okay, so these are the disadvantages you can write for hydropower plant. Clear everyone? So with this, I am completing this video. In my next video, we will talk about what improvements have been done in case of conventional sources of energy. Okay, they have their own disadvantages. So that's the reason, you know, we had done certain improvements with the help of a technology. So those improvements with the help of a technology in conventional sources of energy is what we are going to discuss in our next video. Till then, keep revising the concept and do subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in a easiest way and in a detailed way. Thank you so much.